Welcome to Polishing Profits by the Profitable Cleaner Network, hosted by Mark Anderson, Sharon Cowan, CBSE, and Ed Selkow, seasoned cleaning business owners with over 140 years of success. Learn what works, skip the missteps, and build on proven success.
All right, welcome. So the biggest question is, why do so many business owners grow reactively? They wait for something to happen rather than make something happen. And they're always reacting, whether it's a customer that's going to cancel, a bid that's they finally got a chance to get out. Everything's reacting. Nothing is worked ahead. Nothing is very strategic. And that's just the way you live when you're a smaller company. If you're 5 million and under, you wear a lot of hats. We understand that. Collectively, we got 160 some odd years of business sitting right here on the panel. The other thing is, the important thing is having some strategy. And before you go all off and tear your hair out, I know nothing about it. Reason small business owners don't do it, it's pretty simple. They have a fear of doing it. They don't understand how to do it, or they won't take the time to do it. It gets down to that. And we have a great plan. Look below. We have simple business planning. It's yours to pick up. Click the link down below. But basically, let's talk. You have to have to get sustainable growth, you have to have a strategic plan. Let's make it simpler. You just have to have a plan, period. I don't care if it's on the back of a napkin, 6 points. You have to know where you're going and how you're going to get there and what it's going to take to get there. We just had a post-meeting, pre-real meeting here, and people say, well, I'm going to grow to $1 million this year. Well, where are you today? Well, I'm at 100,000. You know, pardon us, but you just can't help but giggle. Well, I'm going to call on a lot of accounts. What, while you're cleaning the accounts? See, this is where strategy comes in. So basically, let's look at the common pitfalls of growth without a plan. I'm going to throw these out there, and then we're going to jump into it and give you some information. We're going to give you some how-tos, and we're going to talk about things that we've experienced. So let me throw out 3 common pitfalls. Reactive versus proactive growth. In other words, you sit around and wait for something to happen. You're always reacting. As I explained to my clients, you're like a fire truck. You wait for the bell to ring, you slide down the thing, you grab the dog, you grab your hat, you get on the truck, and you go do whatever. Whether it's a sale, you got a lawsuit with an employee, somebody quit, you got to clean tonight. You're always reacting. Well, that's why it takes so long to build some of these businesses. You have the risk of scaling too fast. And when you finally get all the work, you don't know what to do with it because you don't have a foundation. People aren't in place. Where do I find an account manager? Oh my gosh, I just got awarded a $10,000 account. You would not believe how many times the 3 of us hear this. What do I do? Well, have you been growing your staff? What was your plan to build some people to help you do this? Didn't have one, just got a sale. You get the point. How strategic planning leads to sustainable growth. Whether you're a lifestyle business or you want to be a multimillionaire, the growth has to be sustainable. You got to get it and you have to keep it. So those are the common pitfalls. So Sharon, I'm going to bounce over to you first, and let's just talk about a couple of the simple things to do, because I know this is your wheelhouse, about creating some kind of plan, what it has to look like, and our old friend SMART goal. So would you pick up some points on that for everybody on the how-tos, okay?
Well, the plan, and I can give you a brief example. I didn't have a plan for people when I was early stages of my business, and I didn't have the plan for who covers when someone calls in sick. So there were many times early on that I was left in total panic and horror trying to cover an account because I didn't have a plan in place. So I learned pretty quickly to change that and put my plan for backup personnel and who's going to cover when somebody doesn't show up. So that was one of the things. The goals that you're setting and the plan you make need to be structured. They need to be specific, very specific. How am I going to reach $3 million this year, this coming year, when I am at 1.5 now? How am I going to get there? So a specific goal. It has to be measurable. It's something that you can track and measure the progress. It has to be reasonable and achievable. So it has to be something that you know you can achieve. If you set a goal so high you can't achieve it, it's a waste of time. Okay. And then it has to be relevant to your business. How is this going to affect my business? And why is this important for me to do this? And then time bound. And this is a big one for me. That time factor. When am I going to achieve this goal? By what date? By what day? When you and budgets and plans are like a living document. They can be changed. So when you hit that time goal and perhaps you haven't achieved all of it, maybe half of it, then it's time to relook, refocus, rewrite the goal so that it becomes the SMART goal. Following that, and I didn't have one when I first started. I was in the dark, like the pit and the pendulum. I was in a dark room. I just flew by the seat of my pants, and sometimes my results showed that. And you just, if you're going to be a growing enterprise and a sustainable business that's going to grow, you need to have a strategy and a plan.
So I'm going to play producer here. We're at 5 minutes. Okay.
Okay.
So,
Mark, didn't you have an annual event with your
yeah,
your people?
yeah, we had an annual event for the executives, and then we had another annual event for all the C-suite, and then we had after that happened, the same people that were in that event, we had an event for our entire team, our executive account manager.
And you made adjustments to the plan.
Oh yeah, constantly. Adjustments were made by the regional vice president every week, as needed. Yeah, and every month we got together collectively. And to wrap this up, with what Sharon said, you don't have to make work. Again, we have a simple business plan. It can walk you right through it. You have to do it. The only way you learn to do this is to do it. And you have to find the time. I don't have time. I've got to clean. Those are bogus excuses. You want to build a business. You want a foundation. You have to act like a company that operates and grows and knows how they're doing it, and it's sustainable. And that means it can be as simple. 5 areas to look at. We've talked about this all the time. You need finance. You got to have some money to grow, right? You got to have customers to grow. You got to keep those customers to grow, and you got to have people to administer. And I don't care if you're one person, you'll wear all those hats, but you have to know what each of those things take. And then, as Sharon said, you use the SMART. If you don't know what the SMART goal process is, please look it up. There'll be some times to interact with us. We'll be having some, I'm just going to throw this out there, some roundtables that people will be invited to come and meet with us. We'll make them very affordable, and we'll go through these things with you. So we have a way to help you do this. So Ed, I'm going to flip over to you, and we're down to executing the strategy. So that's having a roadmap, targets, clients, industries. This is really having a roadmap for, let's just talk about the sales and then operational readiness, tracking the progress. Just give us, you ran a multi-million-dollar company for a lot of years. As a matter of fact, you built a couple of them. What does that, you want to give us some examples of what that meant to you when you were running your company?
Say that again.
Do you want to give us some examples on the roadmap about strategies when you were running your company? Let's just take sales.
Oh, okay. All right. Okay? I got it. Thank you.
Let's just grab sales. That's one of our points that's on our giveaway.
Yeah, no, I'm sorry. I blanked out there. My first company, there was no plan, and I did not know a plan was necessary. I wouldn't have been able to identify or map out a plan at all. And what happened was, and this is the best way I can describe it. If you've ever been in an auto accident, and there's that moment that you are going to hit that other car or that tree or that wall, there's a little 5 or 10 second light that goes on, and it's like there's no way out of this. Okay. All right. Okay. So that was that was me for two solid years, 24/7. The moment of impact, it just never stopped. Oh, I'm sorry. It did when I handed the keys to a new owner.
So you sold your problems to somebody else.
Well, I knew that I couldn't go any further. I knew that I couldn't get any further. I was desperate for information. Okay, and as it turned out, there was two other tries, and finally, when I got to a position with the big company, um, that's when all this stuff was answered pretty much.
Okay.
So that first company, I didn't even know what the questions were. I couldn't identify what the questions were. Okay. Down the road, the next time, I found out the answers and the questions, and that was a huge deal for me. That was a huge deal for me.
Great.
I always knew that the most important asset is the ability to create, to be creative, and I realized that early on, and I used that quite a bit. That was my if there was a strategy, that was it.
So wrapping that up on the strategy, and to Ed's point in simple business planning, it's he didn't know what questions to ask. Here's our giveaway. The first question you ask is, where am I? The second question you ask is, how did we get here? Lost a customer? Where am I? Customer loss. How did I get here? Better do a post-mortem. How did you get here? It's true for anything. So the questions to ask, they're 40,000-foot questions. Where am I? How did I get here? You can do that for any of the areas of your business. Finance, management, sales, marketing, admin. It's the same process. It's the same wheel. But you have to be willing to do it and take the time. So to wrap up Ed's point, you have to have a roadmap. You have to have a roadmap for sales. You have to have a pipeline for sales, customer acquisition. You have to have customer experience and retention. And you have to have a way to track those things and make sure you know where you are. And we're not going to go deep, but we all collect data anymore. Everybody's got software. Everybody's got 4 and 5 software programs collecting data. So you have things to look at. And tell you how old we are. We used to collect data with a pencil, okay? And then we had to read all of it and make our own conclusions. So closing takeaways. Basically, strategic planning is essential for BSC growth. If you don't have that, you're going to wind up where Ed was there, selling the company to somebody else because he didn't want to deal with it. And I know he had more than 2 revs, but those are stories for another time. The challenge to the listeners, Sharon talked about it. Set a SMART goal. They're not hard. And don't say, what do I set the goal on? What's today's problem? I have a program called Problems to Profits. You bring your problems, we figure out what the biggest one is, and we ask those questions and we see what you can do with it. Identify where you need to work and put your time where you'll get the most bang for the buck. Pick one area. I don't have enough leads. So go through the SMART goals. And then finally, what's the call to action here is, subscribe, leave a review. We're here to help you. We're going to have a lot of ways to do that, but we have to get a lot of information out quickly. And this is the way to do it. But all winning starts with a game plan. Everybody loves the word playbooks. Well, what do you have a playbook for? Playbook's no good without a game plan. And who's your opponent? Where are your problems? And identify them. So really, that's all we have to say today. So thank you for listening. Subscribe. You can find us in all the regular places. Look at the link down below for the simple business plan. And we will see you in episode 2 of the Common Pitfalls of Growth